Hey everyone, it's Jeremy here with another JS in FM 3 video. This is a totally unscripted, unedited, sort of thought out video explaining features of the JS dev environment and JS in FM particularly. So take a look. Here are our three topics for today. We're going to talk about deploy and redeploy. We're going to talk about pointing to any file, and we're going to take a look at some of the IDE features, the integrating development environment features of VS Code. So let's get started. Here we have a quick file. This is a sample of a pivot table over here on the left and the code on the right. The idea of this is that this file over here, the FileMaker file, doesn't need this to run. In fact, I can just close it out, I guess, and you can see my backdrop, and this will work just fine. We can load the table, and it has everything in here. The HTML is coming from this layout, this field in particular, and the script that loads this is looking for that. So everything works just fine, all is good, we're all great. But if a client comes to me and says, hey Jeremy, I like what you did here, but I want these all to be expanded, I'd be like, okay, we can do that. So let's make a change. I can open up Visual Studio Code. I can open up that project, that repository, and I can make a change. So let's say they wanted all of those to be expanded. Here in this, I can say expand all from true to false, from false to true. And then let's do something else here. Let's make another change. So, I noticed that this unit sold has the format of currency, and I want to change that to a number. All right. So this is good. I can run it and see if it's going to work. So let's do that. I start it up over here. I go to the dev mode here in FileMaker and load it up. And certainly I have what I have. I have that here. Now I don't have the product here. That's actually different. The client wanted the product in the state. So I need to add that over here in VS Code just to be, there we go. So let's run that again in dev mode. There we go. So now we have product and state and everything is expanded because I've made the change. Oh, and these units sold column is no longer currency. So here's what it looks like in dev mode or in production mode. Here's what it looks like in dev mode. These changes I have made over here in VS Code. Now I'm ready to deploy it. So over here in VS Code, I'll stop the server from running and I'll type in a command at the bottom, npm run build :upload. This takes all my code, packages it up, inlines it, and sends it over to FileMaker, replacing what's in here. It just takes a second depending on how big it is, how complex it is. So we'll let that happen. All right, now hold on. I told you that I wasn't going to edit this, but I did cut some of this out because it took about 15 seconds, which is a long time, but it's not that big of a deal, I don't think. So I just let it run. So just want you to know I did a little edit. All right, let's get back to it. So here it is. It's been updated. We can see that it's been updated, and we can see that. And if we look at the modification timestamp, I'll put that here so we can see it. It has been just modified just a second ago. So now going back to the main layout where the web viewer is, turn off dev mode, and my changes have been placed into production. So really, that was simple. The client asked me to make a change in the current state of the web viewer, the widget. I went over into VS Code, opened up the project, opened up their file, and made the changes and then deployed. It's that simple. This environment allows us exactly to do that, to make changes over here in VS Code and then deploy them. It's almost as easy as opening up the script workspace and making changes in here, or the manage database, or the layout. It's almost as easy as that using VS Code. Okay, so that's one feature, exciting feature, I must say, of the JS Dev environment and this idea of JS and FM. Let's go on to the next one, which is pointing to any file. Okay, so I have this file here, JS Dev, and these two are connected. VS Code over on the right, and the file is connected. Again, if I make changes to this in development mode, npm run start, if I make changes over here, it'll be reflected over here in the web viewer. So if I could say enable expand all back to false. As soon as I save it and I reload it over here, that change is in development. It is being connected. When I'm ready to deploy, I could deploy it to any file. And that's, again, the beauty of this JS Dev environment. Down here in VS Code in the project, there's a file called widget.config.js, and it allows me to target any open file. This is the name of the file that is currently open and that VS Code and its deployment process will target. Okay, so any file in here, I can put any file in here. When a client comes to me and asks for a change, I have the client file here. If I were to use this widget in another file for another client, I would simply update this right here and attach it and write the name of the new file. So we can do this. I'm going to just quickly over here in FileMaker create a whole new file. Just give it a blank one. We'll call it blank test. All right, and set it down. Just call it good. I do need to create two things. I need to grab this HTML table and bring it over into that new file. Paste, paste, there we go. And I need to grab the scripts here, this web viewer scripts folder, and paste it over in here, just like that. Now I know that I could create an add-on with these two items, the script folders, all those scripts, and the table. And I've thought about it, but really it's just two things. It's the table and it's the script folder, and it's good to go. Oh, and then it's the layout. So there are a couple things we need to do for sure. Okay, so let's get back to this. Let's get back to this. All right, so we've got this blank test here. And I'll just put the web viewer on quick on this layout, just like that. There we go. And now I'm set. So if I wanted to, I'll get rid of the dev file and add this widget to this particular file right here. I would do the following: come into this widget.config.js file, update the name of the file to blank test. I don't need the HTML or I don't need the FMP12 file, and run this process. So let's do that. Let's run this. npm run build upload down there at the bottom. Let that upload. Where'd it go? Let that run. And again, it takes a little bit of time to build. This is a complex project, but again, it's not that big a deal. Just take a step back and wait for it to do its thing. Here we go, blah, 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 blah. You can see it. Here, I'll move over here so you can see it. There you go. It's still building there right here. It's not so bad. It's not so bad. We'll just let it do its thing. No worries. No worries. There we go. Oh, I got the dreaded issue that I always forget about. So now I have to go over into my managed security, into my full access account privileges, and update this file that says allow URLs to run FileMaker scripts. There we go. All right, so we'll just handle that. Now over here in VS Code, we'll run a quicker command called npm run upload. We've already built it. Now we just want to upload it. So let's do that. And there we go. So now the pivot table has been, the whole code base has been added here. And if I were to go back here and run this, I would get exactly what I needed to get. Now, of course, just be aware, I understand that the data is coming hard-coded in the widget. So I would have to do a couple more things in getting the data in here. But hey, that's all good. Okay, so that is the second feature of the JS Dev environment and JS and FM in general. Let's go on to the third. The third one is all about using the integrated development environment, in this case, VS Code, to do work and to allow us to code JavaScript efficiently. Not only does it help us code efficiently, but it actually kind of can teach us some JavaScript while we're doing that. And let me show you around here. So as you can see already, it's very colorful. This is a theme that I've chosen. There's a lot of different themes, but the point is that the theme is picking up that there are a bunch of different keywords in here that mean different things. For example, anything that's in blue seems to be some sort of function that comes from another file. The import statement is all in the same color. Variables are typically in this orange. So are properties of object, or so are keys of objects. This is another variable. It's a different color here. What else do we have? We certainly can see where the strings are and where the numbers are. So it's all very, very useful as far as the color coding. Now, the integrated development environment also helps me to understand when I make a mistake in my JavaScript. For example, this variable here that I'm defining, I can't use that variable name again because I've already declared it up here. If we hover over it, it should tell us the problem. Cannot redeclare block scope variable, new pivot data. So it's telling me something is wrong. We have all the indenting here. We have all the commenting out that's a little bit more obvious. It just looks nicer. It works nicer. And as I build complex widgets, I can collapse different parts of it to help me to see the overall structure. So this is just a few parts of the development environment that make this really good. I could even use, let's try something here. I'm not prepared to do this, but we're going to do this anyway. So the data is coming in from another file. It's being imported in just as test. I can come in here and I can hit Command I and ask Copilot, which is an extension. I think I pay $10 a month for it or something. And I could say, with the data variable, loop through each record and add a new property called index with the index of the elements in the array. So it should hopefully create that little JavaScript snippet, and it does. I can accept it, and there we go. So I'm adding to the array, adding to the records, and I'm adding a new property called index, and I'm giving it the index, the order in which it is located in the array. So yeah, so the integrated development environment is very useful to us. And I would strongly, strongly recommend that you use a proper development environment to write your JavaScript. All right, that's it. This is all I wanted to share with you. These three items here, deploy, redeploy, point to any file, and using the IDE features. This is what makes you and my job easier. Let me try that again. This is what makes the job for you and for me easier, when we can write a widget, when we can create a widget the most efficiently way possible, and that is through this. All right, so stay tuned to the JS and FM YouTube channel for more of these videos. I have a whole lot of topics that I can cover, and we'll get to those. Thanks for watching.